Looks like the stream is live. Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be continuing as we undo Zurb and do Vuetify. Hopefully I can finish that up today. This will be the fourth video in that stream, and I think I'm close enough to do it. As you can also probably see, I'm testing out a new webcam. I'm really not testing the webcam as much as my computer that's doing all this streaming stuff for me. So we're going to see how that goes and see if it doesn't destroy everything. I'll try to stream with my actual picture over the code today. Let me make that change right now. Boom. Okay. All right, and we're back. Actually, I'm going to send some quick messages out to see if anyone wants to watch me stream today. Oh gosh, that's terrible looking. Anyway, here we go. Okay, so we left off yesterday and I had gotten some screens working. Essentially these are back and the grids are working the way that I had them before in Zurb. Still learning how the grids work with Vuetify, but it's been pretty straightforward, and Vuetify in terms of the grid seems to be a pretty lightweight wrapper over the Flexbox CSS layout stuff, which I didn't know beforehand, but it's pretty straightforward and frankly it's pretty awesome. So that's all been very good. Low impedance mismatch between the CSS and Vuetify, which is great and way better than what I was using with Zurb, at least in my opinion. Okay, so now the next thing is my modals. I had a lot of them. Yeah, and you can see I'm getting errors when I try to do certain things. Property method modals not defined. That's right, because I pulled out the Vue.js modal library and I'm replacing it with v-dialog. So I'm going to work on that. So this new game button right here, actually it's not a button, but it should be a button, should be popping out a modal when you click it, and instead it's throwing an error. So I'm going to go to the game manager and start with that button and try to get that modal showing again. Let's dive in. Let's close a lot of this stuff so I can focus on what I'm up to, but here's the new game button. Close other tabs. Okay. Yeah, so essentially this $sign modal is the Vue.js modal library, and it is no longer in the repo because I've started using Vuetify. Let's see. Game modal. Where's my game modal? I'll actually find that. I'm not sure where I have it. Oh, it's the game form, right? Right, so where's game form? Did I remove it? Oh, game form, I did remove it. It used to be on this page. Now it's gone. Great. And that's actually fine because I used to just like drop them into the layout somewhere and they would be hidden until they got used. And Vuetify actually kind of manages all that for us. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to make these into buttons. Get rid of the old stuff. So they're just V buttons. If I head back over and refresh, here we go. Oh, that looks awesome already. I think there's a way to make buttons smaller too. Let's go look at that. Why not? Because it would be cool to have different size buttons. Depressed, disabled, fixed, flat, icon, oh yeah, large is going to be a small, huh? Small size button. That's easy enough. See how that looks. Very nice. Hey, I've got a person in the chat room asking what the overall project is about. Let me tell you what. I'm gonna... Well, I'll tell you, it's a tabletop game prototyping tool, but I'm also going to type it. Tabletop game prototyping tool. Entirely client side. No server, no tracking, no ads. And it'll eventually be open source, as if me streaming and showing off all the code isn't open enough. But yeah, eventually there'll be a full-on GitHub repo for it. But yeah, the main scope of what I'm doing right now is translating from Zurb to Vuetify. Yeah, hello, Damer, Hotlovak. Pleasure having you. Okay, so back to this. Yep, so I'm still getting my error when I click on New Game. And just ask whatever you want while I'm streaming. You're not going to bother me. I would love to show off whatever you'd be interested in seeing, as long as it's germane. Right, so that's not, so this here is failing as it should. Right, so this is so let's understand the v-dialog. Slot equals activator. I'm just going to remove this click from this altogether, and then make a new v-dialog and see what happens. Right, so this is how you do modals, dialogs in Vuetify, and you put something inside of it and you give it the slot activator that says, hey, this is the thing that activates the dialog, shows it, and everything else inside of it will actually be the content of the dialog. So let's see how that looks. All right, yeah, totally worked. Totally worked. And this is one thing I learned about dialogues working with them yesterday, the day before. They are actually transparent, or they have a, I don't know if they're transparent, they have a low opacity or what. I think they're entirely transparent. So what happens is they expect you to put a VCard inside of them. Oops. VCard, title. And then that'll look much better. VCard content, I think, is the rest. Okay, we'll go back and refresh. Oh, VCard content is not actually a thing. So I'll have to fix that, but there we go. Now the modal is fully opaque. It's way too big. But yeah, but we're gonna get a cool form in there now. So if, tell you what I really like is the way these dialogues look. There's a good form example here, boom. So look at this, and this is just awesome looking. Really lovely form. So that's what I'm shooting for. So I'm gonna have a smaller, narrower dialogue there, and fill it up with lovely form elements. So to start with, though, I think I've got a game form. This is kind of cool. So in reality, I could probably say game form right here, and let all this just be done in the game form file. Yeah, and I think that looks pretty cool. Let's go see what the situation with game form is. Yeah, here it is. Right. Why don't we... Okay, well, the modal is broken. Or, well, I don't know, actually, if it breaks straight up or what. Let me just see. Okay, yeah, so the form is in there. This is the old form, and it looks like it works. Looks like it might work. Let's see if it works. Does it work? Nope. Oh, it did work. Yeah, I created the element. The resource got created. It failed to hide the modal because it's not inside the modal that it thought it was anymore, or that library's been removed. But it totally worked from the data and code perspective. So if I go back, you'll see I've got a new game here titled "Does It Work?" Awesome. Yeah, so really, that was kind of easy, and I'm just really gonna spend most of my time on these modals, just like converting them to the VCard format and making them pretty. Actually, is this form actually even in a VCard? I would like to know that. Yep, sure is. And like I say, I'm learning Vuetify while I do this, so, you know, I may be a pretty good coder, but learning new things is always a thing. So here we go. Yeah, so VCards. Looks like VCards are the way to go, and these, oh, this will be my first form in Vuetify as well, so that'll be interesting. Okay, let's dig into it and see what we can do. So this modal I'm going to drop altogether. Yeah, so that whole line's just gone. And I'll outdent everything else. Okay. So you know, the form actually works. I don't know if I need to make any changes to that for Vuetify's sake yet, but well, why don't I just look? Layout wrap, v-text field, crazy. There's no form. I don't see a form declaration anywhere. Though it's a visual example, so it may not actually do the form stuff. Damer is asking, I've never really played tabletop games. Can you maybe show or talk about a use case example? So I actually have... Let me see, what would be the best? I'll explain briefly, and then I'll link you to another video I made that uses the older version and actually creates a game out of it. Tabletop games are just board games, so anything you play with cards, chips, a board, what have you. And there's a lot of them coming out every year these days, but the tools aren't there for them. So people typically resort to using classic design tools like Photoshop or other Adobe tools, and those are way, way, way overpowered. That's a, you know, a sledgehammer to crack open a nut. And only like 2% of the tool is actually good for tabletop game designers. So what you find is people making like a card per file in Photoshop. So like if you have 50 cards in your game, you've got 50 separate files, and when you want to make an update, you've got to update dozens of files manually. So my approach is to take a programming approach and keep all of your data in a spreadsheet, and then create a template that the spreadsheet rows generate the cards for you. Now when you go back to make changes, you can just modify the spreadsheet and reprint the game, and it all just happens. And all of your spreadsheet foo is available to you. So if you want to update all of your red cards to have a little more strength, you can do that in one place, or, you know, whatever powerful thing you want to do with formulas or find and replace, etc. in spreadsheets, it's all there for you. Paperize knows how to understand what did change, and you could print all of your cards over again. You could print just the cards that changed, etc. So it's got a lot of, basically it's to help you go from idea to a tabletop prototype fast, like really fast. Like as you're having the idea, moments later having the supplies available to you. And if you give me one moment, I'm going to dig up a link for you on my channel that will show you how the tool used to look, if you're interested. Bear with me, my computer's running a bit slow. Come on. One moment. channel. Yeah, I'm eating up all the bandwidth, so trying to pull up a file, it's taking a while. Almost got it. Okay, here's an example of using the tool in the past. There you go, Damer. So that link in the chat will show you kind of how it's Paperize. It's this app I'm working on, but it's a past version. It's a Ruby on Rails server-side version of it that I'm basically porting to the front end so that there's no server component for performance and for non-trackiness and for scalability and for great justice. So there you go. Okay. Back to this. Okay, I think I'm gonna update the grid to be correct. I think I am. Layout row fluid v-flex sm6 headline v-flex sm4 v-flex sm8 v-flex sm4. These are just I could be fine in replacing these as well, but these are just really simple grid changeovers. Shimeko asks, sounds cool. Thinking about going a Electron-esque route. So the idea there is that would this become a piece of desktop software? That's certainly in the realm of possibility, and maybe some people would want that. An ability to kind of download the thing and know for sure that it's never phoning home anywhere. Since my promise is that there's no server and no tracking and whatnot, but you can't really, it's hard to like tell that when you're using a web browser. That's certainly an opportunity. I'm not focusing on that at all for quite a while, but I'm definitely allured to the possibility of that. Color equals success. I don't know if that's actually how that works. I realize this is like a proper form button, and I'm not doing. Let me just look at the Vuetify docs for forms. Comes to form validation, Vuetify's multitude of integrations and baked-in functionality. Actually, let me respond on the chat. I should probably keep doing that. For posterity. Has multitude. So does that mean I can't validate with Vuetify by itself? It just mentions the integrations. Oh, and baked-in functionality. Okay, so I can probably get away with baked-in functionality. vForm component makes it easy to add validation to form inputs. That's all great. I really just need to know how you're doing submit buttons. Oh, validation with submit and clear. Here we go. vForm component has two functions that can be accessed by setting a ref on the component. Validate will validate all inputs and return if they are all valid or not. Reset will clear validation errors from all inputs. Okay. Great. Okay, let's just look at that. So we got the vForm. lazy validation. I assume that means it doesn't validate until it's over. One moment. I've got another chat room question. Damer says, looks cool. Is this an app you are making just for fun? If so, what do you do full time? I'll respond on the stream and then I'll type. I'm a web developer full time, but I am actually off on paternity leave right now. And I'm actually hoping not to go back to full-time work. I have a Patreon to support this work, and I have a lot of people excited about the tabletop project. So a lot of game designers want something like this and are waiting for something like this. So my idea is to give it away for free, to code it in the open, to give all the code away for free, to make it serverless so it doesn't need a server and a DevOps team and growth. And then, yeah, I mean, basically board games are the board game industry is kind of dominated by a certain type of person right now. And I want to hear more voices. And if you charge money for something, then you necessarily cut out a majority of people who may otherwise use it. And I don't want to cut people out. I want to hear more people. So my idea is to create this instead of as a startup entrepreneur, to create this as an artist, as someone who wants to give things away, as someone who wants to let people see their process and teach and learn, and then get funded via Patreon as an artist instead of as an entrepreneur. So the core product itself and the business that creates it will exist just to get it out there. Basically, that business just owns a domain name and some API keys and Amazon S3 account, more or less. And then I exist separately from that company, though I am the principal of that company. I exist, and Paperize and all this code exists as art, as an open source project that gets created and given away for free, and that business just hosts it and makes it easy to use. And again, there's no way to pay that business. You can only donate to me as an individual artist. So anyway, there we go. Damir, thank you. Damir, thank you for showing me how to pronounce your name. That's fantastic. Right, so let's see. Submit button in forms are just standard buttons that call a method. Great, that'll be easy. Damir says you should post a link to your Patreon. I will do that right now. Here. I will try that again. I will make sure that worked. Yeah. Yeah, that's me. Since this is since I'm on stream, I'll pull the Patreon up for my viewers to see. There we go. Very weak headline, etc. But here you go. Yeah, it's not really like launched yet, so there have been a few updates here, but they're not. Once it's launched and working, I'll start doing live streams where I'm using the tool live and showing how quickly you can clone existing games or create new games. At that time, I think I'll be pushing the Patreon itself much more, since for now I'm just kind of doing code and only us code nerds care about it. There we go. Okay, and Shimeko says, inside the method, you just can call validation and then your submit logic using your data prop. Great. Yeah, right. And you know what? I probably knew that. Right, so before I had type submit, and then I was, the event I was calling on my form was up here in the form itself. That way it got called when you press enter inside of inputs and things like that, as well as hitting the submit button. I guess that's my only thing. Inside the method, you can just call validation. Yeah, so I guess the question is really, is it better to, how do I make sure that all ways of submitting the form get caught? That's going to work. That is going to work. Okay, and this is the button that closes the modal, which no longer is needed. I also had a cancel button here I may or may not need as well, but let's see what Let's go see what, oops, how this is looking. Game. Oh, right. No VCard. No VCard. Actually, I think I'm going to toss this grid stuff since the VCard is going to do the layout for me, more or less. Oh yeah, and this should probably be VForm. Let me see, I didn't quite get what I needed from the VForm thing. VForm, ref form, vmodel valid. Let me just look at this. Oh yeah, that ref form is so you can reference it inside the code, I believe. Okay, validations are pretty straightforward. I like that. No magic. Just beautiful modern JavaScript. Ref stuff form to validate. So there's where he calls that vform and calls the validate method on it. Someone says that pug looks really confusing. Dude, it's less. It's less than what you're used to. So instead of having brackets around everything, you just remove the brackets. Just remove the brackets and use indentation. So it forces you to have good, clean, nested HTML, and it just removes so much verbosity and noise. It's much easier to read and see. And all of that was opinion. So I don't need to convince you of those things, but those are my reasons for using it. And to the point of looks really confusing, everything looks confusing the first time you see it. That's the human brain. Okay. Right, every input is just mapped straight through to something. Name rules, email rules. How do those? Oh yeah, rules. Neat. Counter. Shemako nailed it. Right, VCard. Okay, let's get this VCard going. VCard title, VCard, what is it, text? Is that everything else? And that's where I might want to do some grid stuff. Let's look at the VCard. Title, and yep, text and actions. Okay, VCard text, and then at the bottom I'll have VCard actions. Yeah, so that's got a good cadence to it. Title, text, actions. How much you want to bet that looks like a million bajillion times better? Okay, it looks like anything at all, so that's better, right? Why are my inputs so like invisible? Let me make sure I don't have any old CSS crowding things out. I do have some weird old CSS. I'm going to toss it since it was germane to the Zurb version of this form. Just make sure that's not the problem. Yeah, I can probably do the same thing. I mean, this submit game will still fire when you hit enter, and I'll just make this V button have a click that does the same thing. I do wonder why I'm using an ID here on this input. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm not using the V stuff. Let me look at form again. Not using Vuetify's things. Oh, I think there's input stuff. Input. V input. There we go. Okay, cool. Default slot messages. V input. A pinned icon, pre-pinned icon. Neat. Examples? No examples. Interesting. Whatever. Is there a label on here? No, just an input. V container. Default slot. Is that the actual input? No, that's the after. Well, I'm just going to try it. You're using, okay, text, chat says you're using input instead of v text field. What is v text field? Why don't we, there must be like a section on this, right? I'm just like not looking at the right stuff. Forms, inputs, oh, text areas, text fields, okay. It seems like all those could be grouped in the docs a little better. I'm talking out my backside since I'm just now starting to use Vuetify, but this is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. So I'm glad I'm looking at this. Collecting user provided information. Simple text field with placeholder and or label. Great. Let's do that. That looks awesome. V text field label placeholder. Solo. What does solo? Solo mean no label? Yes, solo means no label. And then, wow, this is cool though. Great. All right, let's well, first let me pick the one I want. I like box. Maybe box, maybe regular. Let's do regular with the placeholder. Regular placeholder, okay. And you just put it inside of a VFlex that sizes it how you want. That makes great sense. That makes great sense. And now just to convert it to Pug. And you'll see I didn't actually add anything. It's just the same thing. I'm going to wrap the attributes in parens, and I should have a beautiful input now. Oh yeah, the label is now handled. Look at that. So I can just say title. Maybe game title or something, I don't know. What's a funny board game title that wouldn't really be your title? Settlers of Carcassonne. There you go. Inside jokes. Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. Then I say start editing. Maybe I should say start designing. Let's make this dialogue smaller. Right? Because it's huge. Dialogue. Max width. Let's just go with 500 because why not? And then I want to move this button to the right side. Man, that's really cool. Oh, I should have, oh, no. I gotta make sure this works, and it totally won't since I haven't given a V model. Is that right? Text field's just gonna take a V model like anything else because that's how view works? Jeez. Does not say V model anywhere. Current V model value will be passed to the callback. Oh yeah, it's not listed in the API, but of course it's there. I guess because V model is like a generic view thing that could be anywhere. Yeah. Right, okay, well, let's just steal the old V model because that's obviously needed. Keep it up front. Type text, ID. I bet that ID is something I'm using in my Cypress tests or something, but let's try without it. New game. My new big board game. Cool. I hit enter and it worked. There it is. I also want to test that clicking works. That also worked. Beautiful. Okay, so I think I'm doing a modal thing somewhere in here. Yes, I am. This close modal is getting called by submit game. Oh man, I love nothing more than deleting code. You feel me? Boom, gone. No code is faster than no code. And this is all my Vuex stuff. How do you pronounce Vuex? I've never know how to. I always want to pronounce it view, but that's how you pronounce view. Man, this really tightened up that modal a lot. A lot. Right, so now that error that I get should no longer happen. Yep, no longer getting an error when I submit. What would be the best? What would be nice to do? Oh, I need a validation that's, well, do I need a validation? If it's empty, I could just name it for you. Oh, why does it just say game up here? Headline, game. Say design a new game. And then instead of start editing, I'm going to say start designing. Because game designers are game designers. Okay, all that works. The only thing I'm not doing is validation. You know, I was going to avoid that, but it looks like it's really easy. Callback should return true or a string, which is the error message. Simple validation through the rules prop. And the rules prop seems to just be, let's see, rules.required, rules.counter. Okay, and yeah, here they are. So as long as you've got, and these are functions that will take the value and return the string, which is the error if you don't return true. That is too easy. Well, there's the one I need, so I'm just going to take it. Data. Is it data where this goes? Oops. I think it was data where this goes. Yes, data. And then how do I engage it? I say, oh, is it just magic? think it's just magic. Everybody's favorite magic. There's the model. Let's say rules equals rules dot required. Just like that. Nope. Not like that. Rules dot required. I may have to make a validation. Maybe this prevent is, who knows what I'm doing. Let's see. The v-form, no, it doesn't say anything about validation. The prop accepts an array of callbacks. Current v-model value will be passed to the callback. Well, the value should have been blank. Rules dot required. Rules is rules dot required. I guess I don't know when it's actually, okay, yeah. So it is validating when I blur. So I guess the question is, how do I block? Okay, I'm not blocking submission when rules fail, and that's what I need to do. But this doesn't do that. I guess it's something I check. Okay, let's go. I bet it's in the form, because this mentioned validation. All input components have a rules prop. It takes an array of functions. Whenever the value of an input is changed, each function in the array will receive the new value. If a function returns false or a string, validation has failed. Great. v-form has valid prop. That's what the chat room tells me. v-form has two functions that can be accessed by setting a ref on the component. Oh, right, I gotta ref it. Validate will validate them all. And return if they are all valid or not. So that's basically it, right? Okay, well, let's add a ref for the form so I can get a hold of it. Ref will be game form. And then on submission, I'll say this.refs.gameform .validate. And then if this.refs.gameform.valid, then I can do all that stuff. And that won't, and nothing will happen if, what is this? You're saying ref.form name. Form name? Oh, like if I have a, I don't know what that is saying. I want to see if the way I tried to approach it blows up. It does blow up. Cannot read property game form undefined because I wasn't following good view. Totally right. It's $refs.form. Yeah. Okay. Right. You're telling me to do what I was trying to do, and I did it wrong. It's $refs. Oh, and validate actually will return whether it's valid or not. This is great. Definitely programming faster with an audience who knows more than me. Boom. Oh, that is fantastic. Now nothing happens. But if I put something in, something happens. Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. Okay. Very cool. That's great. And this is getting to be a pretty tight little file. Yeah. So that's actually that's one of the mini modals that I've got. And I'm gonna head over. Oops, I do need to check and see who's messaging me over there. But first, I'm gonna check in this code. Update the game form modal to use v-dialog and v-form and friends. Boom. Okay. You can also bind disable and make the button not clickable if form is not valid. That's also pretty cool. I don't know if, it's a really simple form, so I'm not going to fret too much. But, you know, like just that first one is nice. This pops up, you know, the red pops up when you try to click it. Later, it just kind of feels like it's not working. And if you disable it, it'll be, that's not super telling you a whole lot either. It may be disabled with a tooltip or something. I don't know. I'm not a user experience person, so I'm sure my ideas are very bad. But yeah, this is like so fantastically better than what I've had. I'm pretty pleased with it so far. So anyway, yeah, and Shimeko followed up to say it prevents misclicks or users getting worried nothing is happening. Yeah, that's all of that is the kinds of concerns that I have. We'll get there. That's great. That was a huge jump forward. I think that's all the modals I have on this page. The next ones are going to be in the edits. So let's go edit my new big board game. And new component tries to show a modal, and it failed to do so because I've got it commented out. So let's go to this is the component panel, and this new component should actually be a small button as well. Component panel. And this one's well factored already, but there's the new component button. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the old link to make it a V button. And I'm gonna make it small. Yeah. For some reason my permalink isn't working. There's a new component. Yeah, okay, it looks much better. It's creating the component, but it's not opening the modal, which makes sense. Where is that modal? Oh, right. Component. This is iterating through all the components and drawing cards for them, and each component has its own form inside the card. So what happens is I create the component. Yeah, so I dispatch create game component, and I create it. And then once that's done, I show the modal on the next tick, which is kind of nuts. But I wanted to create it automatically. Did I want to do that, or was I doing that to get around something? I forget why I did that. Vue just lets you do so much stuff so fast. Anyway. Well, so that code is crazy and probably not something I want. So I'm going to comment that out for now. And I'll have deleted it by the end of this commit. Another v-dialog. This button will go into the activator slot, as always. And the rest of this v-dialog, content of it is going to be that form. I think I was doing something janky when I made that form, so let's, wait, is this it? Yeah, this is it. Oh yeah, component form. Component form, what did I do, remove it? Oh yeah, it was right here. That's pretty interesting. I bet it won't work without a component. Let's, is this how I made the game form look, game manager? Yeah, it's pretty cool. So there's just a activator button and then a form. Basically the same thing, but I've got a click handler in here as well that does this create component and show form, which because I'm creating the component before the form, and the form is just an editor form instead of a create form. But I might go back on that too. How did the game manager, or the game form, I should say, oh yeah, it calls update game, or create, it calls update game or create game, as to whether the game exists already or not, because the form gets used when you edit as well. No, yes, it used to. Oh man, this app is so not that big, and it's got so much legacy code. The bane of everyone's existence. Great. Sorry, I get slowed down when I hit these like things I don't exactly know the answer to. As you may expect. Then I link the component to be this component, which I don't even have a component yet. How do I look that thing up? So do I need to... Let's look at the component form. Oh, it's big and crazy. It's big and crazy, and it requires a component to be passed in. I'm saying component a lot. This isn't a view component. This is a board game component. Components in my nomenclature. I know it's confusing. I couldn't think of a better word at the time. It may end up getting changed, but components are like a deck of cards, a pile of chips, the instruction manual, etc. Any like category of things in your board game is a component. And components have templates, and that's kind of the whole magic of this thing. Yeah, well, oops. Let me just see if I can do what I wanted to with respect to the dialogue. I'm going to make it not required anymore. I'm going to make the component not required, and we're just going to see what happens. One moment while I check who wrote to me on Discord. Oh, yeah. Yep. Just a friend. Okay. Right. So I edit the game. Component form. Did you? Nope, I did not register that component at all. Got it, though, right here. And then I've got components, component form. Great. Wait, did I remove it? No. What am I getting an error? My build is still working. Property or method component is not defined on the instance, but referenced during render. Right. Totally did that. I totally did that. Cardinal sin. Let's just... Oh, it doesn't work. Still getting an unknown custom element component form. Beautiful. There's no content to the dialogue. Game editor page, component panel. Yeah, that's it. Oh, what did I do? I put it in the wrong one. What did I do? This is all the wrong stuff. This is in component form. Oh my god, the copy pasta. Oh, the copy pasta. Component card, component form. There we go. All right. Yep, so the component form itself is blowing up because it expected there to be a required component present. And there's not. Yeah, so this constitutes actually a bigger change than I was expecting to make. Do I need? I mean, I don't even know why I had to create it before I opened the form. And this form is so busy. Let's clean it up. Let's clean it up. Well, what's breaking? ID, modal name. That's going away for sure. Title. ID, modal name, title. What is modal name? Right. Methods, close modal. Well, you know, I can just start getting rid of stuff that I know is going to be gone, so there won't be a close modal method anymore. Here's the modal name, the height, scrollable. Yeah, so this is all leaving. This whole thing is leaving. And this is becoming a V form. This is my V layout. Actually, no. This is where I forget that I'm doing VCards. VCard title. Deadline. Deadline, is that Freudian? Headline. And then here's all the VCard text. There's all these shenanigans I do for labels and inputs that get so much nicer with Vuetify. VCard actions. V button. Small. And that closes the modal. Do I want that? I might want that. Okay. Right, so I've still got the ID and title stuff. Let's figure those out. Oh. I'm just going to comment that because the component's not present. Okay, so to make this input awesome, it's a title, right? Yep, so it's going to be a v text field. Question mark, game form. Yes, v text field. I'm going to steal it because I liked it so much. I liked what I did so much. I want more. V model will be component title. Or did I already have a V model? I did. And it was component title. Very nice. Rules. Probably is required. Label is title. And I had title before with a bunch of jankiness. And then, did I have a placeholder? I did not have a placeholder. All right, I'm gonna comment all that, and I'm gonna make a placeholder that says artifact cards. Why not? That evokes a little bit of excitement, like there's actually a game here. And this is the close modal button again, something else I don't need. And then I think I will revive this close button since there's no, since it's all, I think these forms are like saved live as they're typed into, which may or may not be a terrible idea, but it is what it is. How do these dialogues get closed? Oh yeah, they need to have their own V model. So how do you close a dialogue that you aren't, that you're inside, but that you don't really have access to the scope of? Like, I don't know, this dialogue's V model to close it. Without activator, modal, full screen. Yeah. Simple dialogues. These all do the same. Yeah, all these v-dialogs use v-models. V-model, v-modal, oh my god. The language is so conflicty. Okay, I think I'm gonna not use this close button yet. Okay, how does that look? Still broken because I'm using this title, ID, right. Right. Modal name, did I decide I don't need that? I did decide I don't need that. Component title, this.component.title. That's once the component already exists. I mean, what if it doesn't? This component and this component title, or nothing. Oh, I'm still using that title somewhere. Oh, right there. Oh, I just got through to something new. I think the rules are failing because I haven't made a rules thing. Yep, there's that, and makes me need to bring my data back. And I'm just going to steal the rules. Suppose those could be, the validation rules could be defined application wide at some point. Yay. Again, it's just way too big. Spell cards. Close doesn't work. Closing the modal works. And the title was not given, was not saved. Because everything blew up. Whoa, 22 errors. What happened to us this time? Error in event handler for input. Component ID format not recognized. Undefined. Pass a string or number. Component ID format not recognized. Oh, I did this. Oh yeah, I'm auto setting the component when it gets changed, and it doesn't exist yet, so. It was nice assuming that it existed with this form. I may go back to that. Oh, there's a whole lot of editor left here too with this template size editor I've got to enable. But I think I can toss all this now. Man, deleting so much code, it is so divine. So what, do I bring this back and then like show the modal with this? Do I want, or the dialog, do I want to have different dialogues for each component? Or I really want one dialog that can get the component changed. But that feels like something I'll forget. You know, I won't be able to maintain. Get my wires crossed. New component. Create component. Right, so the component actually got created, but I'm not getting it to put. To put into that modal. This whole ID thing is kind of cool. If nuts. What's the component card look like? Have I finished doing that one? Right, so here's the old modal inside the component card for each component. And it gets shown by its name. Definitely doing this kind of like not the way Vue would have me do it. Is active component. Where do I track which component is active? Oh, it's in Vue, Vuex. That'll do it. I just only allow, I just use the active component. Let's try that. Let's see if that makes everything easy. Maybe easy is an overstatement. So in the component form, so on component panel, so when you create component and show form. It's pretty verbose. So this will create it and it'll hand back the ID, and then I basically need to set that component ID to be the active ID, which is doable with, let's look at components in the store. Find actions. Wait, really? One component source only. No, where's active component? Oh, it's probably inside. Where is active component? That's not even the right thing to look for, Lauren. active component. Oh yes, it's everywhere. Active component, lib store. UI? Oh, it's a UI. I made a UI store, right? Find isn't being used? No, it's not. Great. Always love cleaning up things that the linter finds. It's just easy, you know? Oh, that one has to be there because of where. Oh, no, it doesn't. Nice. Easy lint wins. Okay, right. So I separated the idea of working with components and the idea of setting components in games as active, because that's really a UI kind of thing. Like the fact that it's active, the fact that it's the one that's on the workbench is a UI concern. The component itself doesn't really need to know that. Which, in hindsight, I think I'm still cool with. Yeah, and I've got a set active component. Mutator, do I have a set active component action? I do. And I just pass it the ID. That's great. That's great. Yeah. So here's what we can do. I can say, I can bring back this after this then on the create game component, which gives me that component ID. I can then dispatch this .store.dispatch set active component, and I pass it. What do I pass it? I pass it I think this is actually find component's going to take an ID, I believe, like ID colon. Sometimes I get confused with the newfangled JavaScript. But I think that's what it's looking for. And then there's no next tick nonsense, because when this gets done, the right thing will just happen. So I've got an ID, I dispatch set active component. Once the component becomes active, right, so computed, so I got active game, I'm also going to grab active component. That will suddenly change, and when that changes, this v-dialog can show itself. Is that right? It's a little complicated. Let's see, v-model equals active component. Why not? So there's no active component, then this thing's hidden. It's not right. Not entirely right, but I'm getting there. Show edit dialog. We'll just make a new model called show edit dialog, and it will become, and the component form will take it will have a component bound to active component. So the form, if the form's ever showing, it will only be showing the data. It'll let you you'll be editing whatever component is the active component. Okay, so all the this will create a component and set it to be active, and then it will also set the visibility of show edit dialog. Probably after that one's done. This does show edit dialog equals true. And then we'll go back into the component form. Wait, component form. I'm going to make a vif. So if there's an active component, then it gets rendered. It's a little bit circuitous. All right, I'm gonna make it required again. Let's just see. Let's see what I'm dealing with here. I think I've probably blown some stuff up. Show edit dialog is not defined. That's correct. It is not, because I didn't make it yet. Data return show edit dialog. It starts with false. No explosions yet. New component. Okay. Okay. That seemed to work. Component ID format not recognized. Pass a string or number. That sounds like me. Oh yeah. String or number. Yeah, no, I think this ID thing was wrong. Okay. Can I delete these? No. Okay, well, setting this doesn't seem to do anything now. Something's totally not working. Let's go to one that doesn't have any components. Here we go. Okay, that created the component. But didn't pop the modal. Because the show edit dialog didn't seem to happen, I guess. Uh-oh. Stream cut out. And it's back. And it's gone. I was worried about this happening. Huh. One moment, folks, for technical difficulties. So it looks like it's maybe the USB that's crashing on my Mac. It's not crashing, it's just like cutting out. But the webcam goes off and the video capture goes off. I don't know why that's happening. CPU's at 40%. I'm gonna forge ahead, like you do. Hopefully that won't persist. Let's see, am I forgetting this rules? No, this should be working inside the double arrow, even inside another double arrow. Dot then. And if there's an error, it would be exploding somewhere. I don't know why the v-dialog isn't showing. Show edit dialog, show edit dialog. Console logs. Active set. And I'm going to say component ID, just so I can read it. Yep, active is set, and then there's this lovely massive component ID. But it's not showing the modal, not showing the dialog. V-modal equals show edit dialog. Is it just not like, I got the VCard in there, it's pretty. It should be pretty. Did not set the max width like I wanted to. That will be helpful. The activator slot is there. Is it because I'm activating it? Oops. Yeah, I was doing both the v-modal and the activator slot styles. And that was probably the problem. Okay. You can see that it's totally updating because it's happening live in front of us. Close button doesn't work, I'll fix that. Probably the problem. Yay! That's kind of cool. What just happened? All right, great. Component card itself is a v-flex, right? So it smashes itself into place. They're not carrying their own forms anymore. The set active. Yeah, so what I want now is for these edit buttons here to bring up the same form. With themselves injected. So I'm gonna have, I think, to get things welded together, I'll have these emit a custom event that's like edit me, and then the component panel outside can receive it and open the same form that this opens. Maybe. User interface is just so tough. Get rid of the form, get rid of this component. When you click, it calls set active. Checks to see if you already are active. If you are, it does nothing. Otherwise, we extract the game and component ID. So that we can visit a route, and the route sets us active. Wow. That's a little weird. Makes me wonder if that's what I need to do here. Probably is. Oh, it's working already. Yeah. What did I just do? Yeah, that's working. Okay. The router is so strange. Okay. I don't know how to emit events in Vue. This dot emit my event. Just that easy, huh? All right. So for, okay, emit, edit me, why not? Edit me. And then component panel, for each component card, it will say, hey, if on edit me, is that right? Show edit dialog equals true. Is this nuts? Sometimes things are like deceptively easy. Deceptive. Oh, okay, so it's camel case here, and oh, listening to the kebab cased version will have no effect. Unlike components, don't provide any no automatic case transformation. Great. Okay. Great. Always use kebab case for event names. Great. Easy enough. Edit me, show dialog, show edit dialog true. Why not? Okay, let's see if that works. That, oh, enter doesn't work. Why? Because I did a submit thing. Oh, close modal still happening. That's fine. We'll figure that out in a second. New skidooski. Holy cow. Look at that. That works. That is working. And lest you think I'm a heathen, I've got 60 plus tests, maybe 50 something tests that run through all this. I just put them on hold for a minute. You can see some of that in the first episode of this series. I put that on hold because it was just adding one extra layer of confusion, but I will as I get more used to Vuetify and integrating most of the stuff through the app, it'll be a lot easier to go back to the tests. I'll kind of understand what's broken. Whereas before I was kind of like trying to force Vuetify to do certain things just because I had a test already in place that did expected things a certain way, and I found that wasn't super helpful when I was like changing like so much, you know, the DOM and the everything, you know, it's all just in flux. So getting tests working will be the last thing, and they're going to be awesome. Okay, that really worked. Right? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay, hitting enter inside that form blows up, so let's go work on that. I've got the on submit thing. Is that where, did I keep that with the game form? I did. I did. Oh, and all I did was close the modal here. That's kind of cool. But the modal also could just be closed. I kind of think a keyboard should close it. I mean, I can emit again. I can emit from here and close the modal. Yeah, why not? This will be on close dialog equals show edit dialog equals false, just like that. Okay, and now all I have to do in here is emit. Close dialog. Same for the button. Edit it, close it. Edit it, close it. It's a little weird that I have a validation on this and I don't require it. I mean, it's a little weird to think someone would have a component they don't name, but if you like no title, I guess you like no title. And this is the PDF rendering of the actual game itself, which we'll be getting to shortly. Actually, I've only got another maybe half hour to stream. Not sure how far we'll get, but I just learned and did so much. I'm gonna look at the diff just to kind of see what the status of all the wreckage is that I've been throwing about. This is cool though. This is pretty compact and verbose. Vuetify definitely feels like it's like delivering on the promise of Vue. You know, I look at Vue templates and I see all the slots and all this like advanced stuff, and I won't say my eyes gloss over. I just say, wow, I just don't think I can. That looks powerful and looks like there's a right way to use this, but I don't think that I can do it personally. I mean, it's a lot to architect something that much. But then here's Vuetify, and John is doing a great job doing that. He's really delivering on the promise of that. And now I'm using slots, you know, like it's no problem because these components I'm using have slots that correctly expose, you know, internal bits. It's amazing. It's really helpful. It's really like delivering on the promise that I could see but couldn't like leverage myself. And now I can build things on top of those components, you know, my application specific, my domain specific components on top of the Vuetify components. And I don't know, this has just been really fun, really useful. Okay, I've got a console log there. I'm gonna get rid of that. What did I do with that console log? There it is. I'm not gonna wait on that anymore. That's just complicating the code. And then The only thing is this edit me is only working because it happens to also be the active component. So I might need to like weld that together later to make sure that I'm getting like the ID of the. Oh, I could use it right here, couldn't I? Well, man, super cool. I'm gonna probably stop messing with this here. So I've got the form and the card. The form. Oh, I haven't opened the template size editor yet. I got to get that. Oh, that's a big part of the form. I've got to do that next. I'm gonna do that before I commit all this. Game form still fine. Project. Let's see. Didn't change anything in the UI, or if I did, it was a minor thing. The component card. So the component card used to have the component form, and now instead of that, the form is outside of the card. There's only a single. So every single component used to have its own form, and that was actually, you know, questionable practice. Like it might have bulked up the DOM more than was needed. And besides, there were Zurb modals, which were definitely gunking up the DOM more than was needed. I was having to do some weird stuff to keep those. Oh, here we go. Got a lot of old stuff. So show edit modal is the old modal style. Don't need that anymore. Set active. I'm really kind of weirded out that this is doing this route thing. I kind of think I might have already fixed this in the router. So is active component. That's a weird thing to have a method. That should really be a getter. It compares this component ID to the active component ID. And then confirm deletion. Oh right, I don't have that working yet on either components or games, but they're using the Vue.js modal had this like dialog extension, which made it easy to ask quick questions. But like it's weird. I mean, this is all Vue stuff, and it's appearing down here in the script. So, you know, these should be slots or something. Now that I know how slots are awesome. Yeah, in fact, these certainly should all be slots. But confirm deletion. Okay, well, I'll come back to the delete later because I really want to get the. Oh, and I also have the component required again, so any of these and things I did can go away. There we go. So, oh yeah. Right, so this can come back because now I'm looking up the component again. All right, let's get the rest of that form out here. It's gonna probably explode in lovely ways. I'll open this one. Okay. Yeah, no, it worked. Right, there's forms in here and they can't be seen because they're using the old Zurb classes. Excuse me while I yawn. This is going to be great though. Okay, cool. That's the template size editor, which is template size editor, TSE. Okay. Oh, I'm using field sets. I bet I don't end up doing that once I'm done. Or maybe I do, who knows. Does Vuetify use field sets? Nope. No, I don't think so. Great. Right, so so I'm already inside what? Inside a form, and this is a separate component because it gets used inside two forms. So yeah, it's already inside of vform. Do my forms even need this method post? That seems kind of silly since there's no server to post anything to ever. There's no server. There is no server. Yeah, I think this can go away without a problem. Game form might have one too. Yep. Actually, let's just find every time I say that in my entire app. Oh, that's it. Just the once. Just the twice. Yeah. Okay. Template size editor. Okay. Field set and legend. You know, it's not that doesn't have a use. So that's this. Does Vuetify do field set stuff? If anyone is watching and knows the answer to that, I would love to know the answer to that. Combo box. Oh yeah, that's an awesome one. I will be using that for sure at some point. Inputs, forms. Selection controls. Oh no. Got that. Sliders, no, those are pretty. Or cool. Select is yeah, select box. No. Menus, lists, navigation drawers, pickers, toolbars, tabs. The dividers? No, that's a horizontal rules, right? Yeah. I know someone named Ellie Connors. How strange. Okay, I'm gonna go without the field set for now. Well, I'm gonna leave in the field set for now. In reality, am I doing any styling? Nope. Oh wow, this has got a nasty script section. Okay, let's. Oh right, I gotta do VCard stuff. No, I'm already inside of VCard because. Yeah, I'm sitting inside the VCard text already. So if I leave the field set in place, all I should really have to do. Oh dear, what have I done here? Oh, those are, I'm using these two standard and custom things as like a mode setting. Standard, custom, right? So they change what is seen in the lower form. You get a drop down of sizes, or you get a custom thing where you can put in exactly the inches, exactly the dimensions of the component you want to make. Okay. Where do I want to start? I'm thinking that might be a select. Selects. One on selection controls. Which one of these? Might be radio that I should do. I mean, it's basically radio. Wait, switch? Switch. It is a standard. It's not really on or off. It's like standard or dynamic. Preset or dynamic. Oh, let's look at some examples. States. Checkbox colors, checkboxes in line with a text field. Radio's default, radio's direction. Whoa, these are off. These are not aligned correctly. Switches Boolean, switches array. Oh, that's cool. Switches states on off. Colors. What to do? Okay, let me read the code some more. So I set is active if paper mode, and then on clicks I set the paper mode. That can work. Is active. What oh, is active is a Zurb thing. But Vuetify menu is really a select. I need two options. It's really a radio button. Could be tabs. Pickers. Nope. Images, icons, hover. Dividers, dialogues, data tables. Floating action buttons. Oh yeah, no, I knew about those. What about buttons? Maybe it's just buttons. Flat, raised, depressed, drop down variants. Whoa. These are fun. Button toggle, that's it. Exclusive toggle. Hey, I found it. This straight up, this is what I'm looking for. God, just loving Vuetify. Text options. V button toggle. Well, there it is. V button toggle, and I give them values. And that's kind of like what I've already done. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to delete so much stuff. Instead of horizontal rules, I'm going to use v-divider because that's what the cool kids do. Oh, actually, custom size. I'm gonna outdent this, but oh no, that all needs to be outdented. Outdent things. Keep your indentation correct. Okay. Now I'm gonna translate this insanity to this insanity, to this sanity. First, of course, I've got to pugify. Who needs all these closing tags? Just one more thing to mess up, you know? I can do these in bulk. Okay, I only need two. Flat, we will see. Standard sizes. custom size, so that's the same words I use anyway. Well, may end up changing them. So standard and custom are the words I was using as magic words, and it looks like Vuetify wants me to do that for values here. Standard and custom. The V model, let's give it a better model name. Oh, paper mode is actually the one. It's like I was doing the thing the view way and hacking it into Zurb, but then Vuetify comes along and the way I was doing it is the right way, and it just works. So I was messing with classes, I was checking things. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's blow it up. Oh, that looks cool. I mean, it's ugly because I haven't designed it, but it looks awesome. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. Okay. Let's fix up all of this insanity. So I used a template here just to put a VF on it, and I think that's probably fine. Do I want to use the grid on these? I don't know. These are selects, so I was just going to remove everything that's Zurb and learn from scratch the Vuetify bits. So these are selects. I've got labels and whatnot, and I'm betting Vuetify has all the label stuff built in. So yeah, just pretty much very easy. Items are built in, items are an array, just like that. I think I already have those. Oh, no, I don't. Oh, standard component options. Yeah, I do. Where's the V model for this select? Oh, they're not using V models in any of these, and I think that just is what it is. Like if they use the V model, it would just work, which is fine. Items and a label, that's all there is. So, great. V select label equals size. This is the standard, so items equals standard component options. They have a value, a name. I have them all blown out, and I'm not sure if that is going to be needed. I mean, what are these? Like, what are the value of these? I bet there's more examples. I bet there's more examples. Ooh, supplemental. That's fun. Light theme. Whoa. Whoa. That is really cool. multiple, customize item text and value. That's what I've got. That's what I've got. Ooh, hint, that's really cool. Item text, item value. Gosh. It's like you thought of everything. Item value is value, item text is name. Do you think the V model and on change can stay the same? It's one long line, but if it works, I'll be very happy. I'll be very happy. A new component. Oh my gosh. Whole page, universal. That doesn't seem to be persisting, or it's like over persisting. Paper format. You know what this is? This is because every one of these forms was a different form before, and now they're all sharing. It's just one form now, and it's not getting updated. It looks like paper format never comes back from. I'm never like saving it to the Vue store, Vuex store, and I gotta figure that out. Okay. Yeah, I'm coming up on the end of the stream. Oh, is update page dimensions being called? Oh, it might be getting. What is paper format getting set to when I update it? Let's just find out. Edit a game. Okay. Oh. Gotta call this dot, Lauren. I just like to see things blow up sometimes. What can I say? Oh no, it's getting set. Getting set to a little thing. Then it gets found. Yeah, that's fine. Right, and then I extract the format with. Right, so Yeah, I'm just not remembering. I'm just not pulling it on render to reset them to what they should be. You know, I need to build more code around this anyway. These are standardized dimensions of paper products. And they probably shouldn't just be a const sitting in this component, but rather live in some file where they can be searched for and looked up and compared and all kinds of good stuff. That would make it, you know, like a utility class for this. That would make it easier for me to call things from this component instead of building all the weird contortions in on this code. Yeah, and this is a meaty bit of code here too. Like, I can probably clean this up a bit while I'm in here doing it. I guess a question would be whether it's setting though, which it should be. I mean, here's this template, and so like if I edit and I change him to the whole page, yeah, totally change this thing. So here's there's an actual full sheet of paper getting it rendered to. If I go back and edit it again and change it back to poker size playing cards, it re-renders much smaller. So it's working. It's working. The form just doesn't isn't like responsive to what's underneath. So this one doesn't actually have poker size playing cards. The form just defaulted to that thing. It only sets, it doesn't get. For paper mode and orientation, or no, format and orientation. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this stream now after I quickly do this to this one. Label orientation. So this should at least look good, you know. Items for this one is actually it's these two. Standard orientation options. Name. Portrait. Value. Portrait. Name landscape. Value landscape. It's funny how sometimes you just need to list obvious things so you can deal with them as code. So that will get rid of the need for these two things, because I can say these aren't standard component options, these are standard orientation options. They've got name and value in there already. On change, we call the same thing, update dimensions. And the model for this is not going to be paper format, but paper orientation. And that does that one. I'm going to delete these now. Wow. Another day of deleting code. The site is going to be so fast. Yeah, look at that. Make it landscape. Here we go. Totally makes it landscape. Poker size landscape. Totally makes it poker size landscape. Alrighty, I'm gonna wrap this up now. I'll wrap it up with a commit, because committing your code is totally cool. Especially when there's lots of red, lots of deletions. So many deletions. Need these rules. I need to make these rules something universal. Maybe like a... I should look up what's done, but I was thinking like $1 rules. Mix into view. Not mix in, but global mix in to components. But maybe only components that are form components need it. I don't know. I'm always unsure. Template size editor. Wait, is this no? Right, it's just moved. I would probably put data below it when I made it back. Okay. Close the modal. That looks good. Component panel. Also tighter. Brought the form out into this. It's good. Removed all this crazy ID tomfoolery to glue things together. Felt like jQuery. Felt like jQuery insanity. Removed method post. And then here's the template size editor. Actually, are there any requires in the template size editor I can drop? No, they're fine. I'm gonna move these up there for, I know they're really simple. But it keeps my data method clean, easy to kind of glance at, which is the key there. I'm going to change it from standard component options to component options, and from standard orientation options to orientation options. Okay. Bye-bye, all this ugliness. Some of it hung around. Still working on this one. So this is a whip on the template size editor. Oh yes, I've got a console log. And all this is like still not quite to the main event. The main event is this editor, which, oh, it doesn't exist because the modal's dead, sorry. The editor for the template editor. That's like the whole, that's where all the meat is, where I've got like a layer engine and text and images and shapes and even code layers. So I guess that one will be all its own. But you know, I've got it in a dialog now, but it should be, I bet a full screen dialog from Vuetify will look awesome. So that's gonna be fun to get to, which I will get to next episode. And if I get through it, we'll be done re-Vuetifying the site, which is exciting. What did I change on the UI? Oh yeah, I just cleared up some. I'm going to commit that differently. I'm going to say that this is linter stuff. And then I'm going to commit all of this as convert component modal to v-dialog. and clean up so much. Done. All right, folks, I'm wrapping up. Thanks for watching and talking, and I hope you learned something. I hope you weren't bored. Just a reminder, I do this for the love. I do this for you. Everything I do is free. I want to give it all away. I want to create value in the world without rent-seeking on that value. That said, if you feel like donating and you want to see more things like this, I have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/Paperize. And yeah, you can donate if you'd like to see more videos of this. If you want to see more tabletop-specific stuff, eventually I'll be doing actual tabletop videos and showing how to use this thing once it's usable, which it's very close. Just not quite there. Yeah, there should be one more video in this series, if not two, to finish up the viewdification of this thing. And once that's done, I've got a little bit of database work to do, and then we'll have a big old release. We're on version Alpha 4 right now. But Alpha 5 is going to be big. It's going to be a lot of stuff, and it's going to be the last thing before I can start making games again. And you can too, using the actual software. Thanks, everyone. See you next time. My dogs say bye too.